Hi guys, I hope that you're very well. It's Sylvana here. Welcome back for a new video on the Jewels and Gems YouTube channel. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today we'll be doing something a bit different. As I have announced a couple of days ago, I want to try to give you guys as much value as I possibly can on all spectrums of my knowledge. And that not just involves obviously crystal healing, but also other areas that I feel are very important to share with you, where you can get, I believe, lots of value. And today, the topic happens to be about how to distinguish real gems from fake gems, especially if you're buying online, which can sometimes lead to a lot of, I suppose, confusion. I totally understand why. It makes sense, and it's don't be afraid. Don't feel bad about it if, for example, it was your case that you have bought some gems yourself and you might have noticed that well, it's not exactly what you were expecting. That these things happen. The question here is more so how to make sure it doesn't happen again, how to be in a situation where you yourself know exactly what you're buying. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. So it's very important to remember several things to like, we're going to cover several elements that I personally recommend you guys to do, to take into account whenever you decide to buy gems, be it loose crystals, be it gems, gemstone jewelry, whatever it is that you're purchasing. It's very important to cover all those aspects of this of your search, and we're going to go through it all today. First of all, it's very important for me to remind yourself of my own situation, as you might be wondering, well, who are you to tell us? How are you supposed to know all this? Well, in case you don't know, my name is Sylvana. I am the owner of Jewels and Gems, which is a online store specialized in 9 to 5 sterling silver jewelry and gemstones and healing crystals. And we have been selling 9 to 5 silver jewelry with beautiful gemstones for a good few years now. We are established in what we do, and we have a beautiful, huge fan base of now I think we've just hit 70,000 followers, Facebook and Instagram combined, which is kind of crazy to even think about it. I'd never really think about those things through, but we do know what we're doing. We've been doing it for so long. We have been advising people. I am myself also a Reiki healer. I'm a crystal and tarot reader. I am involved in different areas, and I take a lot of enjoyment and pride in helping people in learning about crystal healing. And for me, crystal healing means also learning a little bit about gemology in a sense. The two are kind of correlated. So like, that's why it's very important for me to talk about this topic today, because I get these questions a lot, like, how do I distinguish a good seller from a bad seller? We'll talk about that in another episode. I think that's going to be a very interesting subject, how to spot dodgy sellers. We're going to talk about that too, because I've have experience in it. Before I was myself a business owner, obviously I was a customer, so I know all sides of how it works. But first, let's just remind ourselves that yes, indeed, it is difficult to sometimes shop gemstones online. There's no way you could deny that. It can be tricky, and sometimes it's very hard for people, I've noticed, to determine natural gemstones from synthetic stones. And the labels sometimes can be very confusing, because sometimes sellers like to twist it all in a way that suits them. So they might decide to come up with a new name that they can use, so that people don't really necessarily feel like they know what's going on, or they might not feel like they have to ask because it sounds credible. You get what I mean? So here I would say today we're going to talk about, if you're unfamiliar with gemstones, if you're unfamiliar with gemology, terminology, all those elements, you know, it's very important to do this work and to do this search so that you know exactly what you're buying. And you know, you're gonna see that the best way to, in my opinion, to educate yourself really is to start to go and look places, start to learn. It's like anything, you have to start to learn, you know, compare. You know, there is no, it's going to be very hard for me to give you one single technique that will get you covered every single time on how to tell if a gemstone is real or not. You know, and of course you don't want to go to a gemologist either, because that would be expensive to get a gemologist to test that for you, unless of course you're buying a gem that's costing over €1,000 or dollars. That's a different league. But let's just focus on a moment for what can you do, guys, in order to make sure that you know what you're buying. First thing I would suggest, always read carefully the description box when you're shopping online for gemstones and crystals. Please, 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 please always read the description box. That's why I always take so much time and effort on our own website to explain a lot and put in information, because for me it's one of those key elements that change everything. So many, and if you are a seller yourself and you're selling gems or jewelry, please reconsider the importance of working on your description box on your website, because you'd be surprised how this for me can be such a turn off. When I see something that I genuinely like, I'm like, oh, let's have a look and check it out, and I see very little description, almost nothing, like a bare description. I'm like, why? You know, like, you have to explain yourself. You're selling something that deserves to be, you know, these gems have so much about them that deserves to be told, you know. And another key element is always focus on the terminology. So what words are being used in that description box? Do you see the term natural coming up? Do you see the term synthetic coming up? Do you see the term genuine somewhere on the website? Do you see the term synthetic, man-made, simulated, dyed, colored? Are those words somewhere explained somewhere? If not in the description box, in the collection of that page or somewhere on the website? You know, always do that search. Look for those keywords, because those, if you see those keywords, it means that you're dealing with someone that hopefully is transparent. And if you don't see any of those keywords anywhere, then that could potentially be a red flag, I'm afraid. I'd be wary of that. Then the next element is you have to start to learn a little bit about natural stones and genuine stones, the difference between synthetic, simulated, dyed. Let's just do a quick recap, because I think it's important to cover all those elements. So what is a natural stone? A natural stone is a stone that has been taken from the earth, which is where gems come from, in case you didn't know, and like, nothing has been done to them. Nothing has been done to them besides, of course, being cut and polished so they are suitable for the market, but that's really it. And they can look quite different sometimes from one another, or from the moment they're being mined to the moment they're being traded, but they are not being enhanced in any way. Let's keep it simple. That would be a natural stone. So just to give you an idea, let's just go straight into it. You know, no BS. I was gonna say the word, but we are here on YouTube. No BS. Here we have some beautiful Arizona turquoise. So this is natural turquoise, so you can see it has a bit of that roughness in it, that rough look. Natural gemstones will always have that look. Let's be clear. If you're looking at this and you're like, I'm not too sure, that is how a natural gem looks. If you happen to have turquoise, guys, that looks completely polished, that looks like it doesn't have any inclusions or anything happening, or very little, that it looks very clean, you should ask yourself and reconsider, is it actually turquoise, or could it be dyed blue howlite or magnesite? Because yes, indeed, so much of the turquoise on the market, unfortunately, lately, is being traded and sold as turquoise, but it's not turquoise. It's actually dyed blue howlite or magnesite, which happen to be natural stones, but they are white and they have been treated to be blue and sold as it. They're beautiful, don't get me wrong. I don't see anything wrong with it. If you want to buy that, if that's what you like and you're on the budget, absolutely fine. But please be wary that what you're purchasing is not genuine turquoise. Another way to, for example, find out more about genuine turquoise, look for terminations. You should always know either where it's been mined or what's the name, because turquoise is one of those stones. There is different names for it. For example, an example that comes to my mind is Kingman turquoise. You probably have no idea what I'm talking about, but if you Google Kingman turquoise, you'll understand what I say. There is different breeds, we can call it like that. So, you know, it just shows you there's so much more about it than what you might realize. So do the search, do the work, learn. And then, of course, the price. Synthetic turquoise, aka blue howlite or blue magnesite, is so much cheaper because magnesite and howlite being minerals that can be found very easily. You know, you can compare that to genuine turquoise, which can be very pricey because there's less and less resources available of it. So all those things that I'm just telling you here, it's things that you can learn, you can know about it. You just have to do a little bit of research. Genuine gemstones, what are they? What's the difference between natural and genuine? Well, genuine will be a real, just like natural, but they have kind of been treated in some way just to enhance their appearance just a little bit, which is fine. You know, as far as you're aware of it, it just kind of helps the stone you know, to improve slightly in the look or the quality. Genuine can also mean also semi-precious. You'll find also some stones sold as semi-precious, but that would fall into the category of genuine. So natural stones that would have been somehow enhanced just to be more suitable for retail, you know, but that would be another example. Synthetic, what is synthetic? Synthetic is something that I think deserves to be talked about more. There's nothing wrong with synthetic stones. If you love synthetic stones for their look, their appearance, whatever, that's absolutely fine. The only thing is it's so important to understand what it means. A synthetic stone is basically a man-made stone that would have been created in a lab. You know, it can share a natural stone's physical, chemical, and sometimes optical qualities. And you know, they're as beautiful as natural stones, let's be honest, but please keep in mind that these ones are not being found in nature inside the earth. It's just created by us, mankind. So examples of that would be what can I think of? Opalite is a big one. You also have obviously goldstone. Yes, guys, I'm sorry to tell you, if you have goldstone and you thought it was real, genuine, no, it is not. What makes the shine inside the goldstone is actually copper. They use copper to create that beautiful sparkle. It's still beautiful, and it's one of those gemstones that sell very well. But this is not natural. It's man-made. So at least now you know. And another one, we've said obviously, we've said opalite. You see, that's one of those things that frustrate me a lot when I look at it online. So many sellers sell opalite as being opal, and I'm like, no, how dare you, and I feel so bad because so many people get scammed like that. Please do your search. I don't have it here with me to show you, but do opalite versus opal on Google and you will know exactly what I'm talking about. Opalite is kind of a milky bluish yellowy stone. It's lovely, don't get me wrong, I think it's very nice. If you like it, good for you, that's perfect, but it is in no shape or form opal. Opal is completely different. As we said earlier, there's different breeds, there's different types of opal. This Australian opal, which looks completely different. It's like a deep blue, and it has sometimes beautiful flashes of rainbow colors, which is incredible. It's not cheap. It's going to be pricey, but that's going to be genuine. That's the Australian opal. Then you have the willow opal, WELO, which is from Ethiopia, Africa, which is more of a slightly milkier type of opal. It's kind of a yellowy base, but then exposed to natural light, it's going to have beautiful flashes of colors like green, red, orange. Now, this is genuine. Keep in mind that this type of opal is very sensitive to water. That's another way to know as well what you're buying. If like normally if you expose opalite to water, it should not change in color. But opal, for example, if you do expose it to water, unfortunately, it can lose its beautiful shine because it's partially made of water, and by absorbing excess of water, it really messes up its chemistry. So try to avoid exposing willow opals to water, please. And then there's other types. There's Mexican fire opal, which is also beautiful. It's like a dark brown with beautiful bright flashes of color in it. You can find it all online. Just Google, you know, all those words we've just mentioned. And please, guys, don't fall for those traps. Do your search before purchasing anything. It's so important, you know, like it's for your own benefit. Simulated gemstones, what are they? You might be wondering, what is simulated even? Simulated is like they are no way similar to natural stones, and what's happening is that for their chemical composition is usually different as well as other properties that the genuine stone will have. So to give you an example of that, we have cubic zirconia, the one and only cubic zirconia, which sometimes people confuse for diamond, because yes, cubic zirconia is man-made, and sometimes it's important to remind yourself of those things. Cubic zirconia, the value it has, look always at the price. The price will tell you everything. The price will dictate what it is. What are you exactly buying? And obviously you're going to have cubic zirconia, which is a stone that's been created to be cheaper, more affordable than diamond, but also much brighter with more intensity in the rainbows of colors that it holds. So sometimes people can get a little bit confused because they look at a diamond and cubic zirconia and they think, oh, that one is definitely diamond, which is obviously the brightest one. Well, no, this is actually cubic zirconia. It's designed for that purpose. Nothing wrong with it. Again, if you love it, go for it. But it's just very important to be aware of that difference. You know, if you're looking for the real deal, or if you don't mind going for the alternative. That's how I like to put it. So that leads us to the next step, guys. To make sure you know if it's real or fake, look at the price. I know that can be a tricky one, but if you're purchasing, a tumblestone of turquoise that's like, we're taking turquoise as an example here. If you're purchasing a piece of turquoise, a tumblestone of turquoise that's like, a couple of euros or dollars, and then you find another one that's like, 20, 30, euros or dollars. Well, then obviously, there's something there that doesn't add up. So always do some search before you shop. Find out what's the average market price of the gemstone that you're looking at. Something like that would be very good. Compare different websites. Don't just jump on one website because that website seems to be very cheap compared to the rest. Compare, go on different platforms and see what each platform averages in terms of price, and that will tell you everything. Now we're talking about gemstones, but that also works very much so for silver. We'll talk about silver another day, because yes, indeed, the price of silver is increasing this year, and that means that the value of the pieces you might be purchasing online could potentially increase because of that. It's like everything. It's like if the price of gold goes up, obviously buying gold is going to be more expensive. But we'll talk about silver because that is a completely different gem. So yeah, the appearance is going to be another big one. So let me see, can I give you an example Yes, indeed. That's what I meant by stone that are dyed or colored. The appearance can also tell you a lot about what you're purchasing. For example, something like this might look completely natural to you, but this is actually dyed. It is natural stone, don't get me wrong, but it does not occur like this in nature, which is fine. This is here agate. We're looking at a beautiful slab of agate. And here agate, usually if you look at natural agate, it does not come in those very bright shades, you know. So it's all important to keep those things in mind. So if you find, for example, agate, like beautiful bright purple tumblestones in agate, beautiful green tumblestones in agate, always check if there's no mention on the website. Ask the seller. But the appearance, you know, the more colorful it's going to be, the brighter the stone, the more punchy the color, to be honest with you, the bigger the chance for that stone to have been dyed. And keep in mind this, because if you happen to have some at home, keep them away from the sunlight, because unfortunately, as it's dyed, it can fade and lose its color. But yeah, you know, no natural stones can be completely two looking exactly the same. Please keep that in mind. It's just not possible. They're like flowers. They're like us humans. There's no two that will be alike. There's just no way. Natural flaws, inclusions, cracks, all those things are completely natural and normal. You are dealing with a stone after all. It's like looking on the beach, looking at a shell. You'll never find a shell that's like completely perfect and bright and just clean. It will have its own flaws and all these elements that make it so beautiful and real and natural. It's the same principle here. And you know, feel free to look online for identification charts. This is a great way to make sure that you can compare if you have some at home and you're not sure what they are, or if you're looking to purchase online and you just want to have an idea of how it looks like. Always make sure that the photos as well from wherever you're shopping have not been photoshopped. You know, look for mentions, you know, ideally if there is any mentions to say that, you know, that hopefully the photos have not been retouched, that this is how it genuinely looks like in real life, and all those things. You know, ideally photos with natural light, you can kind of spot it, and it kind of makes sense and easy to to see that it's just, you know, genuine representation of what the stone looks like. And last but not least, the vendor. Yes, the vendor, the seller, whoever you're buying it from is as accountable in this as the search that you will do. Don't be afraid to always ask questions to your vendor. Ask them honestly. Ask them, is it natural? Is it been treated? Is it real? Is it you know, where does it come from? Like, don't be afraid to ask where a stone comes from. If it's not mentioned anywhere on the website, ask them, where is it being sourced? And that can tell you a lot. If they're not capable to tell you, that could be a red flag. You know, always, you know, do a little bit of I call it a detective investigation of your vendor. Who is your vendor? Is there any information about them? How long have they been operating? You know, like how legit does their website page look? You know, like look for reviews if they have reviews on Google, Facebook, on their website, wherever you might find reviews. You know, look at the reviews and look at all reviews, not just good reviews. Look also at bad reviews, if any, and look what do those reviews say, because that can tell you a lot of information as well. You know, a seller's reputation is everything. So hopefully you're going to deal with a seller that will that will really have that side covered. You know, they can help you, you know, and if they don't seem to be very cooperative, then that can give you another indication that maybe there's something there that could be potentially dodgy. So just be careful. A good vendor will always be happy to share more information, you know, about their products. You know, the bottom line here, just to finish this because it's getting a bit long, is make sure you do your research. Take the time to compare the prices, because obviously there's going to be stones out there that you might see, oh wow, how is that price even possible? If that's what you see, then look at all the elements we've just covered. You know, take the time to do that research. you know, make informed decision if you plan to purchase natural gemstones. That way you'll be sure that you will get exactly what you want, and that, you know, you won't be scammed, you know. And these list of things of how to tell if stones are real are just here to give you an idea, of course. But then there could be other elements to look for too, you know. I just want to try to keep everything concise as I can, considering, you know, it's already 25 minutes. So hopefully, guys, you feel that you've learned something from what I've just said. Always look for also social proof. That's going to be my bonus tip for you. I'm going to give you a bonus tip. For the vendor, always look for social proof. If there is social proof, then you're dealing with someone that's doing good work. If there's no social proof, that's another sign, could be dodgy. Hope you enjoyed this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know in the comment section what do you think about this topic, guys. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up, and subscribe if you haven't done it already, and I will be talking to you tomorrow. See you guys.